Fox News Radio 1, Bill Vitka. Fighting words. We are hearing them again between Donald Trump and Jeb Bush. They squabbled in the past, but the row between them has intensified in a fresh fight over 9/11.
Look, Jeb said we were safe with my brother. We were safe. Well, the World Trade Center just fell down. Now, am I trying to blame him? I'm not blaming anybody. But the World Trade Center came down. So when he said we were safe, that's not safe.
Trump on Fox News Sunday. For his part, Jeb Bush says Trump doesn't have the gravitas to be president. Instead, he's on TV.
Mr. Trump talks about things that as though he's still on The Apprentice. I mean, literally talking about Syria, saying ISIS should take out Assad, then Russia should take out ISIS, as though it was some kind of board game and not a serious approach. This is just another example of the lack of seriousness.
Trump's attacks aren't confined to 9/11. He tweeted, Jeb, why did your brother destabilize the Middle East by attacking Iraq when there were no WMD? Hillary Clinton testifies before the Benghazi committee this week. It could be a defining moment in her campaign to be president. The head of the committee, Republican Trey Gowdy, is defending the panel's work, which is under fire from Democrats.
Congressman Trey Gowdy reiterated what he said before, that as Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton is an important witness to talk to, but she's just one part of this investigation. Leading up to her appearance this week, Hillary Clinton and her campaign are attacking the credibility of the Benghazi committee, calling it nothing more than a political attack job designed to hurt her in the polls. While it's not clear if we'll actually hear anything new from Hillary Clinton in her public testimony on Thursday, that appearance certainly could end up being the most important day of her presidential campaign.
Fox's Garrett Tenney. In the battle against mud in Southern California, some roads have been reopened, some roads have not. Most of the scores of cars and trucks trapped in mud have been excavated, but some are still in the clutches of caked earth, and they will keep digging. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
I'm Grace Hacka, taking a look at traffic. All access from westbound Congress Parkway to the outbound Eisenhower is closed down for construction work until 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. All traffic is forced to exit onto the outbound Kennedy or the outbound Dan Ryan. The Burnt Circle work also closes down the ramp to westbound Congress and the outbound Eisenhower until about 5 a.m. Monday morning. All traffic is forced to exit onto Harrison. Out in Elgin, there's an accident at the intersection between Randall Road and Point Boulevard. And now let's take a look at the roadways. Coming inbound the Eisenhower, no delays. Outbound on the Eisenhower, delay between Independence Boulevard and Austin. The Circle to Manheim, 20 minutes to Thorndale, 33. Stevenson is clear. Coming inbound on the Dan Ryan, you'll see a delay between Cermak Road and the Circle. 95th to downtown, 17 minutes. Outbound on the Dan Ryan is clear. And now for a look at weather. It's currently 54 degrees and clear. Next update in 15 minutes on AM560 The Answer.
If you're looking for a better shooting experience, imagine shooting virtually all your firearms the same day. You can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, or compete in a 3-gun match. You can exercise that rifle out to 600 yards, even engage in a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. Do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Whether you're a novice looking for a basic course or an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, even if you want to participate in your favorite shooting event such as IDPA or cowboy action shooting, spend an enjoyable day with the family at the Aurora Sportsman's Club, the only shooting facility in the region that offers all of that and more. If that sounds interesting, don't miss the next orientation and a tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois. Call the membership department at 815-264-9000 extension 44 for information. That's 815-264-9000 extension 44 to join a one-of-a-kind shooting facility. The Aurora Sportsman's Club.
Attention market watchers. Until recently, the market hadn't seen back-to-back days of 500-point losses since November of 2008. What if you had no market exposure? What if you didn't have to worry about the markets? How would you sleep? Leave the volatility behind. Hi, this is Jack Taboda. Our proprietary income strategies provide reliable, inflation-protected income, guaranteed for life, with no market exposure. Call me at 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. You've worked hard to build your wealth. I work hard to protect it. 630-777-7955.
Insurance products may be presented and guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company represented. Securities offered through ProEquities Inc., a registered broker-dealer and member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services offered through Harvest Investment Services LLC, a registered investment advisor. Kubota and Associates and Harvest Investment Services LLC are independent of ProEquities Inc.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it.
I have 2 words for you: predator drones. You will never see it coming.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues. Here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David and Gretchen will be talking about Chicago's Archbishop Cupich saying the Second Amendment is no longer relevant. The president is going to appoint yet another czar, this one specifically to monitor right-wing extremists. Sanctuary cities plan to release 9,000 criminal illegals, and 20 academics from prestigious institutions think climate change skeptics should be prosecuted under the RICO Act. And be sure to catch tonight's segment 6, when David and Gretchen will be making the case for Obama being made the worst president in U.S. history. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So be sure to give us a call at 312-642-5600. Or go to Facebook, like our page, On Target Radio, and ask a question there.
And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's time for David's Rant of the Week.
I'm not sure if the Penguin is still alive and maintaining my permanent record. The Penguin, a name we gave Sister Lucille because of her black and white Dominican habit, was certainly dedicated to entering every egregious act I committed in 5th grade. And just to be clear, we all loved the Penguin, as she was like our second mother. We called her the Penguin because we were 10 years old and we thought we were very clever, but not out of disrespect. However, she was probably 100 years old when I was in 5th grade, making her somewhere north of 150 years old today, so I'm thinking I'm good. But if anything ever goes in my permanent record again, this rant will be it, because I'm taking on the Catholic Church, or more specifically, Chicago's Archbishop Cupich. I'm telling you this because, despite my fearless demeanor, the Penguin instilled a healthy fear of hellfire in our 5th grade class. So, out of fear of the remote possibility that the Penguin lives, reads this, and puts it in my permanent record, I shall craft my words carefully and temperately so as not to upset the prelate and end up with locusts covering my yard and boils on my body. Archbishop Cupich, I'll make you a deal. You don't talk about gun-related issues, and I won't try to explain transubstantiation to Protestants. You don't speak ex cathedra. Only the Pope does that, and I've been hedging my bets on that ever since reading about Pope Innocent IV and that whole Spanish Inquisition thing. In your October 9th Chicago Tribune editorial titled, "To Gun Violence, Archbishop Cupich Says Enough," you call for the repeal of the Second Amendment and thereby exemplify a great biblical verse, Matthew chapter 15, verse 14, which says, "And the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the ditch." There are simply some subjects on which a priest is unqualified to give advice. Changing the Constitution of the United States is one of them. I'm sorry, Your Excellency, but the Second Amendment isn't out of date. And stripping law-abiding citizens of the ability to protect themselves and replacing it with turning the other cheek, it's a bit out of fashion. All the more so if they're sawing off your head with a machete, or 15 gangbangers are hosing down your car with their 9mm G-locks. In your editorial, you state that the ingredients of a tragedy exist in the hood: untreated mental illness, a society where life is cheap and crime is glamorized, and a ready supply of firearms. I don't disagree. But the problem with the concept of eliminating all firearms is you don't eliminate the reason for attempting to kill someone to begin with. And if you do eliminate that, then you don't really have to sweat the guns. Gang violence is a societal problem, the tapestry of which is woven with fatherless homes, no jobs, no support system other than the gangs. Your Excellency, let me be very clear about something. The Second Amendment isn't about deer hunting or protecting yourself from your neighbor. It's about stopping a tyrannical government, something that's more of a concern today than ever before. Elsewhere, you wrote about the Second Amendment. Let's be honest. Its original authors could not have anticipated a time when the weapons we have a right to bear now include military-grade assault weapons. I hate to disagree, Your Excellency, but you're wrong. If you're going to write an article in the Chicago Tribune that potentially could be read by as many as 1 million people, you really should do your homework. Grab a couple of your novitiates and ask them about Google. The Giuliani air rifle was a 22-shot magazine-fed 46 caliber with a 153-grain bullet that cruised at about 450 feet per second as it exited the barrel of a repeating rifle. It was a military weapon, also owned by civilians and manufactured during the American Revolutionary War. The founding fathers were more than aware of automatic weapons. More importantly, the AR-15 and other modern sporting rifles are not automatic weapons. Finally, Archbishop Cupich, the short answer is stick to what you know. And for heaven's sake, get rid of Father Michael Flieger. The man is an embarrassment. If you want to end violence, start by firing Flieger, who has openly called for his parishioners to pull a law-abiding gun store owner out onto the street to kill him. How can you preach against lawful gun ownership when you have no credibility on the subject at all, as long as you allow a radical would-be murderer to pass himself off as a man of the cloth? And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
Well, that was very intense. But you're right. And we've talked about this many times, and I say this to people whenever I get a chance, is that guns don't kill people. People kill people.
That's the bottom line. You're listening on Target Radio's AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Here's my question. There is a line beyond which, if a nonprofit, which churches are, cross, they should lose their nonprofit status. I think when it's one thing for if he were to say, we have to stop the violence, we shouldn't have guns, you shouldn't be buying guns, whatever. That's fine. Okay. When you're talking about you don't like the Constitution of the United States and how things should change, I think you're crossing the line.
Well, the funny thing about that is that basically those things have never been enforced. The separation of church and state and pastors who preach politics from the pulpit, it's never been enforced.
And that is fact. You're all right. However, you'll notice that the liberal segment of our society has talked about that in conservative churches.
Right.
Oh, well, they should lose their tax exemption.
They want us to be scared of that.
Yeah.
But if we lose our tax exempt status, then Jeremiah Wright should be number 2.
Which will never happen.
Right. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, it's really a an idle threat.
Maybe. I don't know. Under this president, who knows? Lois Lerner is probably sharpening her pencil now, going down the list.
He's busy doing other stuff. But you can see the effects of that. What he's suggesting is Great Britain style gun confiscation.
Exactly. He doesn't say repeal the Second Amendment.
No, right. But that's what he's saying is no one has guns.
Yeah.
That's the idea.
Exactly.
And in Great Britain, when bad people want to kill somebody, they just grab whatever's at hand.
Well, they grabbed knives until they made knives illegal, assault knives. I was in Farnborough when the day that came out in the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so they stopped kind of stabbing people. Now, as we saw about a month ago, it's now illegal in Great Britain to defend yourself.
Oh, that was several months ago. Yeah. The police, the law enforcement basically said, legally, you might be better off not defending yourself.
Yeah. So I'm better dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I'm better dead. I don't know what the world's coming to. This is insanity.
It really is.
It's truly insanity. And
the whole thing's gone off the rails.
Going into the next segment, we're going to talk about this really bothers me a lot. This right wing, they're appointing a new czar. And so we're going to talk about that and when we come back. But And when we'll get around to, we got George. We'll talk to George when we come back because we don't really have enough time right now. So we'll get George. Hang on. We'll talk to you when we get back. But yeah, and I got a lot of response on this editorial from Catholics. And they all basically agreed with it. They said, I don't know anything about Cupich, really. I don't know a thing about the man. But they, the people who wrote to me said, yeah, he's, they're not overly thrilled.
Not their favorite.
Yeah, he's not overly thrilled. I mean, it is what it is, I guess.
Well, when the last two guys practically died in office, they're kind of, sort of automatically sainted, I think. So it's a tough act to follow for sure.
Well, I think it is.
He needs to get like pancreatic cancer, and that would help him.
That's probably a bad wish, but anyway,
I would say so.
We don't wish him that.
No, of course not. I'm just saying it would help his cause.
It probably would. Okay, well, that's a great way to wrap this one up. Hoping the Archbishop gets pancreatic cancer. We'll be back with more on Target Radio after a few messages, and you're listening to AM560 The Answer.
What's wrong with our clock, George?
My clock's working.
Mine says we have 21 minutes.
That's going to get us some phone calls, I imagine.
No, that's the time. 9.
Yeah, but you
Oh, is you talking about the bottom one? Oh, my bottom one says 0.
Yeah. That's a clone of his. You're going to see the exact same thing.
Okay.
Well, mine says 0.
Because it did say like 3 minutes and something, and then it went to like 21.
So we got George from Morton. Knife attack should be banned knives.
You guys hear about that? He's at the library, like
Today?
15 kids.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
And he fought this kid up, this weird, goofy-looking, fat teenage kid with no life, no friends, and he decided he wanted to stab some kids at a library. So he goes in there with 2 knives. 74-year-old man beats his ass and saved the kids a few days ago. Yeah.
Was that here?
Morton, Illinois. It says right on the screen, Morton, Illinois.
Oh, I thought he was from Morton.
No. He's from South Loop. Oh, I didn't type Loop.
Yeah, it was.
He's in South Loop. Sorry. I'll
Yeah, I missed that.
It's scary because these kids.
I gotta say, even though earlier today Shalom Klein misspoke and inadvertently said that he gave a lecture stone, that was the best bit. You wishing somebody pancreatic cancer was the best bit of radio ever.
Starting at 5, right after
I don't wish him pancreatic cancer.
I didn't say that.
It's what it sounded like.
I did not say rifles.
No, not directly.
I said
it would help his
I
cause.
said it would help him.
To keep and bear arms.
Mine has not helped me in any way, so I'm not sure how that works.
Because you're the publicized.
And did yours help you in any way?
Aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been.
All I can see is the downside.
Don't you think it's
I'm the lucky one.
But again, I didn't publicize it either.
For
In order for it to help you, you have to.
If I thought they would get me sponsors, I'd be out here on crutches.
What's that?
Dragging one foot.
His cancer. Well, you should do like the sad child thing.
Well, we got the first hate call.
When we come back,
We got our first hate call.
Plus the latest
By the way,
And what was it? What was it? I would have invited the guy on the air, but you can't use any of those words on the air.
I kind of had a feeling we would get some of those.
Who was it?
George sent me a chat thing on Facebook, and I wonder what Jonathan Creeper because he's super fast.
He's probably not listening anymore now.
Oh, line 2, Archbishop Cupich.
It's probably Jonathan Creek. If I had to put money on it, I'm going
That's
Jonathan
you're probably
Creek.
right. It probably is.
I'm going Jonathan Creek.
Because I've gotten to pick up that he's a hardcore.
Oh, yeah. He definitely.
That's 1-800.
Although on the other hand, I don't necessarily think he has any problem like saying the Pope is wrong.
Arizona State University.
He pretty much whatever occurs to him.
I think I've heard him say like some of the leadership.
James not the only
The
one
church is
turning
wrong,
degree
but
from
the church.
over 90 degrees.
Yeah, he's definitely
over 100% online. From one of the top.
Stand by.
Now's the time to learn
Execute.
more. From
You're bringing it
Arizona
in.
State University. Call 1-800.
Oh, third line. We got 3 lines going now.
I knew that was bad.
Wow.
And they're probably all from the Archbishop's
Touched a
office.
nerve. You touched a nerve.
Answer with Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red issues that affect your life.
And we're back. For more On Target Radio, give us a call, 312-642-5600. We have George on from South Loop. George, what is it about this knife attack?
Nice wielding juvenile that came into a library, and he made the statement, I'm going to kill some people. And a 74-year-old veteran was teaching, about 15, 16 kids how to play chess, young kids, and he fended off this knucklehead. The guy had 2 hunting knives. And, the point is, are we going to register the knives? Are we going to make it against the law to carry a knife, to buy a knife?
They did in Great Britain. They actually did do that, because once they banned guns and there were no guns to shoot people with, they started knifing people. So eventually, this is got to be 7-8 years ago, because I was in Farnborough covering the air show, and they banned knives. They call them assault knives, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But you're right. A very, very good friend of mine, Jeff, who is a retired spec ops guy, he was a Force Recon Marine, found a T-shirt. It's got a picture of a rattlesnake, and it said, "The venom of an old rattlesnake is just as strong." So, you got to watch out for us old guys, George.
That's right. I'm an old guy too.
There you go. That works every time. I love it.
Take it easy. Yeah.
Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's and I think I said this in a rant last week or the week before. I would love to be at a gas station when some guy starts coming up behind a cop to pop him, because I don't look like, I'm some old guy, right?
You're not exactly threatening.
Exactly. And I'll drop him like a bag of rocks. Yeah. And watch anything. Now Ronkowski's going to call it. Well,
you can't do that.
Yeah. Can't do that. We got, are we making fun of Ed?
I can't make fun of Ed because he's doing me a favor right now.
Oh, okay. We're not making fun of Ed. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Listen, On Target Radio. We're talking, actually, we're still talking about this whole thing about Archbishop Cupich talking about anti-Second Amendment. But we got Luis on the phone talking about church to state of politics. Yes?
Yes. I was agree with what you're saying, because, I'm Catholic. I respect their authority on, matters of faith and morals. But when they get into politics, I think, they're just getting off base. They shouldn't use their position to talk about politics. I don't wish them harm or anything, but they shouldn't get into politics and use their position as, a spiritual leader to get into political matters. I believe they're just getting off base.
Well, and I have to agree with you. And there is a fine line. I mean, Gretchen mentioned this. There is a fine line here, because they are supposed to be champions for social change and making things right. But when you start denigrating the Constitution and the right to do that, and here's the problem. What they're saying is we're being labeled, and this segment is actually supposed to be about the president is having another new czar, who's going to literally be looking after right-wing extremists.
Yeah, and like lone
wolves, exactly.
Attacks.
So, and one of the qualifications is gun owners.
Right.
And the sentence, gun owners. Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I say something? When they talk about gun violence, how come they never talk about gang violence? And we should kind of focus the conversation on gangs and on these psychotropic drugs that a lot of these people are taking, and they're always trying to use it to their agenda. But these drugs they have. How about Hollywood? The stuff they're producing. We should always focus on that.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and I've said this countless times. Advertising in this country alone is a multi-billion-dollar-a-year industry. Now, the question is, would corporations spend multiple millions of dollars on advertising if it didn't work? And I think the short answer is no. How is a game that gives you points for killing cops not giving you the same psychological thing, particularly in a kid?
Mm-hmm. Right. They're young, they're impressionable, their brains are still forming and developing. And actually, Lieutenant Colonel David Grossman says that in his books and in his talks. He says that, violent video games, first-person shooter video games are basically a training simulator.
Exactly.
For that, for going out and shooting people, whether it's targeting the police or whether it's going into a school or a library or something and shooting the place up. So yeah, I mean, I think it's fairly well documented, and I think psychologists are concerned, but they're not talking loud enough.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there's no simple answer. And that's exactly the problem, Luis. What literally happened, I think, a week ago was somebody wrote an editorial that, to make it long story short, basically it said, all you aldermen in the Chicago wards, you're complaining about, the violence in your ward. You live there.
Right.
That's your home. Do something about it, right?
Right.
And their response was in the city council chamber to call for the superintendent of police to fire him.
Right.
As if McCarthy, and I'm no McCarthy fan.
It's a lot of finger pointing, because they're like, oh, well, McCarthy came and had, meetings with our residents and they didn't invite us. And so that's all they're doing, is they're just deflecting and finger pointing.
Because that's the easy way.
Right. And they should be taking responsibility.
And to say it's the guns, you know what? 300 million guns did not commit a crime today.
Right.
All right. One guy does some whack job thing. Now, if a drunk driver kills somebody, they don't ban cars. It's the driver's responsibility. Everything is the responsibility of the person. Till you get the guns, then it's not the person, it's the gun. It's ludicrous. It's totally ludicrous. Louis, thank you for calling. We appreciate it. We got John on from Crete, and John's mad at me. How you doing, John?
No. Well, I mean, whatever you said, someone said about cancer, I don't want to hear that. But I want to comment about Colonel Cupich. He wrote a column recently about he wrote a column after the Supreme Court legalized homosexuality. He wrote a column. I would not read that. What was he doing? Something about religion? There was no mention about it. In Chicago, they had a homosexual parade for 20 years. God rest Cardinal George. He said, well, a parade is a parade. No, they are promoting immorality. So, and then also two things. And, the word gun violence, is that ridiculous? I mean, the gun, if you pull the trigger, it's a retort. So, as you say, the people are the ones that they use the gun. And these words are very flimsy. And I'm saying this. I think if it wasn't for the gun people, this country has no moral compass practically. And I hope you gun people do not, get weak, because the only thing holding this country together, I think, too bad, is the gun people. And also on climatology, Cardinal Cupich mentions that, and there has been no change in temperature for 21 years. The people who are for global warming got stuck in the Arctic because there was too much ice. So I think that we really need moral leadership, and thank God for the people who have guns. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
There we go. I find the most interesting thing about over the gun issue, the difference between liberals and conservatives. I don't think I've ever heard a conservative say we ought to take the president out and shoot him. So they say we want to get him out of office. They want to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
And yet liberals do that all the time. Their solution to everything is they ought to kill that guy. You read about it all the time. It's not just Father Flieger. You see this stuff. Rosie O'Donnell, all these people, they ought to kill them. They're violent. Wait a minute. Who's the one talking that way?
Well, the big problem really with the Democrats, one of their big problems is they don't value life.
Exactly.
And that's really the bottom line, is anybody that they don't agree with, whether it's an unborn baby or a conservative person, just kill them.
Right. Just get rid of them.
It doesn't matter to them. They don't care.
Right. And you don't hear conservatives doing that. Yeah, we'll say we got to get this clown out of office. We got to do this, we got to do that. But you never hear conservatives say stuff like that. It doesn't happen. It's I don't know. Sakoff, our count rep here, says liberalism is a mental disease, and more. We used to laugh at it. I don't think it's funny anymore. I think he's got it nailed.
Yeah, there's actually a Christian satire song from many years ago that talks about someone blowing up an abortion clinic, and it's actually someone who is concerned that the babies are being killed, and so yeah, I mean, but it's satire because that doesn't happen. Conservatives don't do those things.
We don't. You're right.
They're outside praying,
and they love
peacefully.
They love to talk about, when we talk about terrorists and all that kind of stuff. They go, "Well, guy did the Murrah building. That was a white guy did that." One nut job.
One guy.
One nut job. I would say that's as good as ISIS. Yeah. All right, we're going to be back. We're going to be back with more on Target Radio after we take a break for a few messages. We got to say a little something about hunting right-wing extremists. But all that and more when we come back. And you'll see AM560, The Answer.
Did I ever play that song for you, or did I just tell you about it? The song is called "I Blew Up the Clinic Real Good."
Wow.
It's a Vietnam vet. The guy says in the song that he went to Saigon to see the show.
One that's still going into the bottom of the sixth. And it's $3.99. You don't have streaming out here. You don't have TBS and the radio. That's fucking banned.
Oh, thanks for fixing that. Over 3 years.
What's downstairs?
Thanks for fixing that.
Oh no, it's right. Last week's radio.
Yeah, I was going to rewrite this anyway. I used to handwriting down.
So you're bringing it in, right, brother?
Yes. All right.
$2.99.
You ever listen to Christian music?
Sometimes when I'm around my best friend there, because she's constantly trying to like redeem me.
Back in the 90s,
I think there's still some Democrats that still want. They're not quite as
Hang on 1 second. Those are called Jim Webb Democrats right now, and there's like 13 of them.
Okay, thank you. You heard something I was going to say.
He's the one, he did a song called "I Blew Up the Clinic Real Good," and he basically says like he was a Vietnam veteran, and he came back, and he's got like mental problems, and now he's an ice cream man, and he's like, I don't care if it's a baby or a tissue blob, but if we run out of youngsters, I'll be out of the job. so he blows up the commercial clinic.
That's just a matter of capitalism right there.
Exactly. He says his livelihood's on the line.
Yeah, the one person all liberals I was screaming about is Kurt Rudolph, who was just a genuine certifiable nut job. But
who is this?
Eric Rudolph.
Oh,
the Atlanta bomber. He bombed a couple of abortion clinics. I think he was living in the woods, like literally living off the land for like 5 years. That is
your. Some girls there too.
No,
I thought he had some girls.
That is like your extreme example of like and what's funny, like those pictures you see on Facebook, they're like what your mom thinks she does, what you think.
I love those.
You know, it's like everybody who's not like a gun owner or something.
Everybody who's like
thinks everybody else is Eric Rudolph.
Yeah.
You guys send a message on Facebook too.
First of all, my survival skills aren't that good.
I keep trying to get around it.
You're good. I get 3-4 months, no problem.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah, I would.
I would finally get the figure I'd be going towards. It's like 87.
Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
The problem with liberal logic is they don't understand logic.
What?
The problem with liberal logic is they don't understand logic. That was Larry
said
Handel.
that?
Larry Handel.
Oh. There's no such thing as liberal.
Right.
It's an oxymoron.
And lunch are provided. Safer USA
Should I read
Aurora
that one?
Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this Illinois.
Oh, did you get this the annual site in Dave?
Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students
are you reading it on our page? I posted it.
Or call 877
Gronkowski.
That's 877-954.
Father Flieger is pronounced Flager. I'm sorry. Sorry, Ed.
I put it there.
To own it responsibly.
Right.
Is ours.
For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has supported the rights and freedoms of Illinois citizens to keep and bear arms. For over 100 years, the ISRA has supported the use of firearms as a sport for personal protection and as a fundamental aspect of national defense. For over 100 years, the Illinois State Rifle Association has been supporting you. Don't you think it's time you supported them? ISRA.org or 815-635-3198. The Illinois State Rifle Association, supporting you.
Did you need a makeover? Tired of your outdated bathrooms? Did a big box store raise more questions than answers? The answer is Stone City.
Is on the line.
Same one?
No, from the guy with the branch down in Harvey that they were trying to.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember his last name now.
John Howard.
He's like, hey, this is John, and I was like, I know this guy. And I was like,
3053 West
Howard. There was like 2 last names.
You want to talk?
John Howard.
Yeah.
You say what?
About your rant.
Oh, okay. Stone City. It's your
probably a Catholic who wants to kill me. Or he knows where the penguin is.
I was going to say most Catholics agree with you.
Yeah, no, they do. Actually, so far. Or the ones who disagree, they're so pissed
Even
off.
John was like so upset he could barely talk.
So I know he disarmed him.
But he agreed with you.
Yeah.
40 seconds.
He was like
George, you saw George's message.
He was like
Caution.
totally off the rails. Yeah.
And I do you get that, George? About John? You said be careful.
Recruiter by over 400,000 businesses, and you can try it right now for free. Getting the right people for your company is so important. Try ZipRecruiter and get your perfect candidate before they go to somebody else. Today, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. Go to ziprecruiter.com/medvet. That's ziprecruiter.com/medvet. Again, ziprecruiter.com/medvet.
You're listening to On Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
And we're back for more On Target Radio. Hi, I'm Rick Cezak, the Advertising Sales Director for the On Target Media Group. If you own a small business and needed more exposure to potential customers, and what small business doesn't, we can help. For over 3 years, the On Target Media Group has been helping small businesses grow. We offer many different and affordable marketing packages through our partnership program. Plus, we can even create a custom program tailored to your business's needs. To find out more, contact me today at sales.ontargetradio@gmail.com or visit our website at otmediagroup.net/sponsorship. We look forward to helping your business reach its target.
And we're back with more On Target Radio, and Gretchen has something.
We have a message on Facebook from Larry. He says the problem with liberal logic is they don't understand logic. I would say there is no such thing as liberal logic.
It's an oxymoron.
Exactly.
A word that I've always embraced.
It's a very good word.
I like oxymoron. It's just nice. It sounds a little bit like laundry detergent and the people you hire to do it. I don't know. Well, now I'll get 1,000 phone calls about that comment. George has got his head sort of cocked to one side. He doesn't. George, we'll explain it to you later. We got on the phone John Howard, our old friend. John, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing excellent. I'm pumping blood and breathing air.
There you go. And in your line of business, in fugitive recovery, if you're pumping blood inside your body, you're doing good.
Column. Yeah,
you're doing good.
And I woke up this morning, and my mom called because she listens to the rest. And yes, David, my mom called. She's like, "Whoa, did you hear?" I said, "Mom, yeah, I heard. I listened." And we started talking about. There was a video that she saw where they were lining up the firearms on the screen as the firearms were suspect in crime. This firearm was used in this crime. This firearm was used in this crime. And this firearm, as the firearm had consciousness.
Right.
Had conscious, and like they were people. They put them in a lineup. And it's like I said before, on the show, it's people that make the conscious decision to do harm to others.
Exactly.
And then we started talking about, we had talked about this prior because she had told me about they wanted to pass some sort of stupidity that would allow gun manufacturers to be sued. Did you hear about that?
Oh, sure. Yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So my response to that is then if there's a drunk driver, they're driving a vehicle, they cause an accident, then it means that Toyota's going to be in trouble. General Motors, which has GMC, Chevy, all of those car manufacturers are going to be in trouble as well, or can be, because someone caused an accident or caused a death while driving their vehicle under the influence.
No, exactly. You're listening to On Target Radio. This is AM560 The Answer. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. You're right, John. And there was just a court ruling in Milwaukee.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, where the court, now this is the lower court.
This was the gun store, not the manufacturer.
Right. They're holding the gun store. They found them liable for the murder, or not murder, but shooting of two cops because they sold the gun to the guy that shot him.
He was a straw purchaser.
Yeah, it's a straw purchaser. So this is where they're going. You know what it is, John? Here's the thing. This president and the Democrats have done everything they could to confiscate guns, and they haven't been successful. So they're coming at us from a different angle. They're coming after ammunition. They're coming after liability. They're trying to make it so onerous that we don't want to do it, which is a joke because that's not going to happen.
No matter what, the argument doesn't make any sense, and they'll never win the argument on gun rights and the Second Amendment. So, okay, folks, let's think of another way to try to destroy the industry.
And they're doing a good job, actually, to be honest with you. Now, your mother's not angry because of my rant, is she?
I told you she listens to the rant.
We do not want your mom to be upset with us.
Yeah, we don't want
No, she's not. She's just like, oh, be careful. Tell them to be careful. Tell them to be careful.
I try to be. I'm absolutely convinced that the Penguin liked me. I'm sure she did, even though she used to hit me with pencils all the time. But I'm sure she did. John, appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
Take care. That's our good friend John Howard, who's got a deal going. He was on the show with the city manager from
University Park.
University Park.
Village,
yeah, nice guy, really nice guy. Very, very plugged into the whole thing. Yes. We're going to take another break, and we still, you know what?
We can't get to this topic.
We're when we don't get phone calls, we complain we don't get phone calls. When we do, I complain because I can't cover all the stuff I want to cover. We need 4 hours. That's what we need.
Well, we got segment 6.
We got segment 6, but I'm still paying for 1 hour. Which, by the way, if you got a business, come on, it's just cheap advertising. All right.
This gives us like a minute though to get cranked up for the next segment. We're gonna talk about how the government now is they're calling a whole bunch of different disparate groups right-wing extremists and lumping us all together. They're lumping together Tea Partiers, pro-life people, with Muslim jihadists and bank robbers.
If you own a gun.
And just gun owners in general. Yep. Now that was predicted by that one guy, but they're lumping together a whole disparate group of people.
So we're going to talk about it when we come back. We're about 2 segments off, but we're going to talk about the new Czar and going after right-wing extremists, which they claim have caused more deaths in America than the jihadists. Good luck on that. We'll be back with that and more on Target Radio after these few messages. And you're listening to AM560, The Answer.
This one kind of get from here.
Yeah, I brought one.
The answer. It's on ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
Rick's like, I'm done.
Well, one thing I was going to mention too is that thing with them suing like manufacturers. There was that one court case where the family went after the ammunition retailer. Was it from Sandy Hook? I don't remember.
Oh,
was.
Yeah.
They lost that case, though. And that family had to pay all that money back.
They do. Their product liability doesn't, so far, has not stood up, provided there's no negligence in the producing of the product.
Right. Like
as long as, just because you drove a car into a crowd of people, it's not the fault of Ford.
Yeah, the product did what it was designed to do.
But that's what's so troubling about what happened in Wisconsin. Right. Now, I don't know all the details, and I haven't seen the video.
That's not going to because vicarious liability, vicarious liability historically has not been upheld.
Right.
And I can tell you that if Ed's listening to the video, he will back me up because I got it from him. That typically vicarious liability is not not upheld.
But if the video shows it's obvious it's a gangbanger feeding information to whoever the person is.
And they did,
what makes it obvious? I mean, the way they
a
dress.
tattoo under your eye, wearing your hat side.
But that's like profiling, though. You know, I mean, like,
ding, 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 and it works. You heard it here first. Profiling works.
Profiling works.
As a member of the law enforcement community, I would never do that personally.
You know, how does the profiling part stand in a legal case?
It depends on the profile.
Usually they toss it. But
if it's racial profiling, you can't do. If it's behavioral profiling,
well, you're right.
Do that.
You can't see somebody and say that's
right. You can't base it on your color of their skin. Yeah. But you can base it on other things. I mean, like we have discussed how when we were in law enforcement, you look for shit boxes.
Right.
You profile
beaters. You
profile shit
right.
boxes.
That's kind of a part of living in nature, you know.
Particularly the ones that.
But there are people though that maybe fit that profile, but they're not. You know, gamers too.
And then we wish them a nice day.
But then you pull them over and you realize
they're
just low income people, and they don't.
What's happening?
Yeah, and then you go, okay, it's cool, roll on the road, brother. And you know, but or if they're white, then you don't.
Or if they're sister.
But yeah, no, I mean, but we found that was true.
Yeah,
I mean, now, for the short time I was in it, I found that to be true.
And you know what? The very few times
That's
I've
a
ever,
very interesting call.
the very few times I've ever been pulled over, I don't have a problem with cop pulling me over.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem with that. Oh yeah. Right.
You're listening to Target Radio on AM560 The Answer with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Gretchen and I would like to thank the dozens of listeners who have contributed to helping to keep On Target Radio on the air. If you like On Target Radio and would like to make a contribution, just go to our website, otmediagroup.com, click on Buy Now, and contribute any amount you wish. $250 donors will be invited to come into the studio to watch the show up close and personal. $500 donors will be an on-air guest host for the evening. Now, more than ever, we need your help. The On Target News team has press credentials to cover the 2016 SHOT Show in Las Vegas next January. We'll be there conducting video interviews and reporting on what's happening by posting them on Facebook. If you'd like On Target News to report what's happening at the SHOT Show, please consider making a contribution by going to otmediagroup.com, click on Buy Now, and contribute any amount you wish. That's otmediagroup.com. It is expensive to put this show on. This is not an inexpensive deal. And we do have some loyal sponsors. We don't have enough. And it's getting thin again. Just winter months, you know, the shooting school income goes down in the winter months, and it's getting tight.
If they do over $500, I'll give them a hug.
Okay, we just lost probably 3 prospective people who
like,
I'm going to, no.
They had their checkbooks out. And now
it's
they
optional.
Exactly. Nice try. Thanks for your help. Can we just shut his mic off? But if your name is George, you get, you know what I'm saying? We're going to take care of both. Anyway, you're saying AM560 The Answer. This is on Target Radio. Give us a call, 312-642-5600. Jeff from Berwyn, where my cousins were born and raised. Jeff from Berwyn has an interesting observation, don't you, Jeff?
Greetings, Dave and Gretchen. And by the way, could I get if I give more than $500, can I get the hug from Gretchen instead of the other guy?
Absolutely. That's it. You got it.
We can make that happen.
Okay. Well, I want to proceed the point I called in about by making this observation. The gun control movement reached its apex in 1994 with the assault weapons ban, and it's been downhill for them ever since. That ban expired in 2004, and we got our rights back. Well, let's say we were able now to buy the firearms that we want, more, legally.
You're right.
Now, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you are correct, but here's the thing. What they have not been able to accomplish and tried legally, they're now end-running. Obama just is end-running Congress, literally.
Yes, but see, they're spitting into the wind, and that's why they're getting more desperate to do these outrageous things, and it's not going to work. I'm going to say this is the reason I called. The whole gun control thing is going to be moot in a few more years, and it's because of 5 words: 3D printing and 4D printing.
Yeah, no, and you have a really good point. You can confiscate it. First of all, there aren't enough people to confiscate guns. Any confiscation would have to be voluntary. That's not going to go real well.
That'll never go over.
That's not going to go over very well.
Happen.
But you're absolutely right, because they have already made guns with 3D printing.
Yes, they've made the first all-metal rifle about, I don't know, within the last year. And now, in 3D printing, they've been able to do it with 10 different components. Okay? And that means that not only will you be able to make firearms, but you'll also be able to make your own ammunition. So if they want to say, okay, well, we can't ban the guns because these guys can make them in their basement, let's make the ammunition so expensive they can't buy. That's not going to work either.
Yeah.
No. And so they might as well accept it, but they're not. And they're going to do more outrageous things that are so over the top that they're going to alienate even more people.
Yeah, I agree with you. The 3D thing is particularly interesting because I keep getting a pop-up ad, or not a pop-up, but I keep getting an email ad. There is a 3D printer now for, I'm thinking it's $5,000. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's about it. Because
Yeah.
they keep falling in price. It used to be like 10 or 15.
Yeah.
And they keep falling in price.
They're accessible.
Yeah. So it could. Now the problem that I recollect with the 3D gun was it was only good for a few shots, and because it was made out of plastic. I
Right,
think.
but no, they've gotten to metal now. They've gotten to metal, and they did have the first, all metal rifle has been made. It's been reliable, and now with this 4D printing, I'm still learning about it. It's so like science fiction. It's like, oh my gosh, this, and it's not just going to be firearms that 3D printing changes. It's going to be everything.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even like building a house, it's going to be so different. So, so we got to somehow build up our defenses and our strategy against these gun grabbers. And when I called a local radio station, which you probably know what it is, it's full of left wingers, and made this point, and I used the phrase "you people." Oh, they went over the top. What do you mean, you people? We didn't say we want to confiscate guns. I says, no, you didn't in so many words, but that's the end game.
Yeah.
I mean, right now what you're proposing, common sense gun laws or sensible gun reform is merely the camel's nose under the tent.
Well, and here's the thing, and we just didn't get to it because we've had too many calls, which is great. But this whole czar of right-wing stuff, one of the true fantasies liberals have is that we conservatives are sitting around talking about how we're going to overthrow the government,
right?
Which is really ironic because what we're really talking about is how we're going to vote people out of office, not overthrow the government.
Right.
We're the ones that want law and order.
Right. We're the ones that are actually trying to stop the left wingers and the closet communists from overthrowing the established government.
Exactly. By doing it, if they can't get Congress to do it, then we do it by executive fiat. And it's the conservatives are going, we got to vote these guys out of office.
We're strongly headed towards being a dictatorship already.
Exactly.
And the conservatives are just trying to figure out how to stop it.
All right, we're going to have to take a break again, and we'll be back with more on Target Radio after we do some very important messages. And you are listening to AM560, The Answer.
You can't have conservative without conservation. You can't have conservative without conservation.
We're going into
Segment 5. We haven't covered it. It's not even technology necessarily. I mean, there's a guy that built an AK-47 out of a metal shovel. There's a whole write-up on it. He shows how he did it.
I'm not surprised.
Use the
AK-47.
Yeah, because it stands. But then the AR-15 is easy enough. Like someone built it out of Berlin, which is like a hard plastic material. It's easy to machine because it's softer than like aluminum. But it's like stronger than nylon, so you can use that as a receiver.
Well, have you ever seen an AK-47?
Yeah,
As a kid, they're made of shit. Right. But that's why they're so effective.
You also have the 80% lowers right now, which are still something you can buy and finish out. They're pretty easy to do. You just basically use a drill pretty much in a Dremel. And it helps you with a fixture, but you can do that fixture too. Yeah. But it only takes a few hours or mess around to finish out the pocket and then put it together.
Find out what
have unsterilized
so we're coming back rapid.
Or call 877-543-30. That's 877.
Some of the stuff
I did all that reading for nothing. Damn it!
I'm thinking some of the stuff
Son of a bitch.
we can push to next week because some of the stuff I really would like to cover. Particularly extremists for next week.
Yeah, that'll be good. Save me time.
Because for segment 6, there's really some really cool stuff. I mean, I got pages of nonsense crap.
Yeah.
And I could have had more if I wanted to. I just was giddy laughing as I was printing it out. Realized I had a ton of stuff.
630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
So
still down 4-1 of the Baptist top of the 7th, but really did turn out to be.
I'm bringing it back, and you're ready, right?
Timing was a little bit different.
Steve shudders to think of what could have happened to his loved ones that day. Plan ahead so you don't get caught in a storm. If a storm is headed your way, stay inside. If you're outside, seek shelter in an enclosed vehicle.
I'm sure we're all on the list. I'm sure we're all on the list.
Yeah, no shit.
Safe electricity.
Yeah,
Especially if you're in the media talking.
I was going to say what I always say when people are like paranoid. They're like, oh, I don't want to be put on the list.
We're coming back
Oh,
here.
we're back. Hi, we're back.
On AM560.
With David Lombardo. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of and other red meat issues that affect your life.
If you're a high school or college student interested in radio or video production of the shooting sports, both On Target Media Group and Safer USA make available unpaid internships. On Target radio interns will learn all facets of the business, from call screening and on-air announcing to video production. Safer USA interns will help out at our Waterman, Illinois facility, both on the range and potentially in the classroom. Interns can take any Safer USA class free of charge, including firearms instructor courses. To be eligible for an On Target Media Group internship, you must have Sunday evenings open every week from 8 to 11 p.m. and reliable transportation, as the AM560 studio is in Elk Grove Village. The On Target News team also occasionally shoots video on location. Safer USA interns will need to have their weekends open and be able to travel to Waterman, Illinois. For more information, give us a call, 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. We like to have young people and get them started in the business.
Yeah.
We like to have young interns. So please do. If you're interested, give us a call. Gretchen, I think you're going to be the magic one.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
Illinois State Rifle Association's annual Sighting In Day is Saturday, October 24th from 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the ISRA range in Bondfield. The range is open to the public that day with free parking. You are invited to compete in the ASC Fall Clays Classic at the Aurora Sportsman's Club on Saturday, November 7th from 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. The cost is $25 for adults and $15 for children, which includes 100 clays, brats, hot dogs, chips, and drinks. You will shoot 25 rounds of skeet, 25 rounds of 5-stand, 25 rounds of trap, and 25 rounds of your choice. The Aurora Sportsman's Club is on Rough Road in Waterman, Illinois, west of Sugar Grove. They would like RSVPs via email to asc.allclays@gmail.com. I put the info on Facebook earlier today. The following Safer USA classes are all at our office in Waterman. Saturday, October 24th, Tactical Rifle 1 and 2, taught by Eric. Saturday and Sunday, October 24th and 25th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry, as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Saturday, November 14th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, November 14th and 15th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1, taught by David and Gretchen. Saturday, November 21st, Illinois Concealed Carry 2, taught by Gretchen, for those who have an exemption for the first 8 hours. Sunday, November 22nd, Tactical Rifle and Pistol Gun Employment, taught by Eric. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on register.
Always a pithy report. I think we never really did get around to the new czar for right wing. I think we need to bump it to next week because I think it's an important story.
Okay.
Is that all right with you? Is that all right with you, Mr. CA?
Yeah, sounds fine.
Bump it to next week. Okay, we'll do that. Are we doing segment 6?
Yes, we're doing segment 6 tonight. We're
Lay
gonna be
it on
talking about making a case for Obama being named the worst president in U.S. history.
And I thought I was being kind when I wrote that.
Right.
You know, I was being generous.
That is.
Yeah.
It is.
You won't believe the list.
I would have said brought up on treason.
Well, that's kind of in here.
But I'm just saying, as far as a title, that's what I would have gone with.
Yeah. To research this stuff, all you got to do is put Obama bad stuff, and it just, the computer just barfs it out. Okay, it just pours. I'm cackling and laughing while I'm printing this stuff out. Anyway, it is what it is. Probably I should go from the open script to the closed script. Thank you for listening to On Target Radio. Be sure to listen next week when we'll be covering the red meat issues that affect your life.
We'd also like to thank George Hoffman on the board, our social media coordinator and ad sales director, Rick Cizak, and our sponsors, DS Arms, the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, Stone City Kitchen and Bath Design Center, and Safer USA.
And you know what? If you have a small business, $100 a week, you got advertising on #1 conservative talk radio station in Chicago. You can't beat it, right?
Come on.
And
Toe
as always, thanks, Mike, for making all this nonsense happen. Are you